Hey guys, I'm Combat Craig, and today we're going to be looking at sleep apnea secondary to PTSD. I'm calling this one alternative facts because there's the reality set of facts, the actual facts, the science, and then what the C&P examiners and the VA come up with, alternative facts. So we're going to take a look at the difference between the two. I'm going to show you a decision letter, and make sure you wait till the end. There's a good explanation and favorable findings. I try to explain that these decision letters that say favorable findings, this one's just total smart-ass comics. So let's hit that stinger, Mr. Producer. To learn more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp at combatcraig.com, and we go over this kind of stuff in my private sessions. I have one coming up on Wednesday at 1700 Mountain Standard Time. We go over decision letters. We go over a variety of topics. So if you want to get a hold of me, my boot camp is the place to go. All right, so this here's what I know about this one. I only have this part of the decision letter. So I don't have, obviously any personal info or much context, but this is enough because when you're reading decision letter denials for obstructive sleep apnea secondary to PTSD, this is usually the part that stings the most. So figured this is where I would go. I know the veteran did file this claim once, and I also know that he provided a DBQ and a Nexus letter from his private doctor on the second go around. And the doctor explained in the Nexus how his PTSD aggravated his obstructive sleep apnea on a secondary basis. As you can see up here at the top, service connections for sleep apnea and then now claimed as secondary. That means he already filed it once, most likely a direct service connection, and second go around. So as secondary to the service-connected disability of post-traumatic stress disorder, personal trauma. So it could be a variety of ways, but this just indicates to me that this is the second claim, and he probably did it direct the first time, and that's fine. You can go back at him. This is where the strategy comes in. Find a new strategy and go back at him. Service connection may be granted for a disease or injury which resulted from a service-connected disability or was aggravated thereby. The evidence does not show that sleep apnea, now claimed as secondary to PTSD, is related to the service-connected condition of post-traumatic stress disorder, personal trauma. And they'll put this in there. Maybe he filed this as personal trauma back in the day. So sometimes they use the old language. That part is not that big of a deal. Plus, the PTSD is already service-connected. Nor is there any evidence of this disability during military service. Of course not. There was no evidence of PTSD during military service either, or obstructive sleep apnea. But, that's what they're going to say. The laws that are covered on this decision, 38 CFR 3.303, 3.306, 3.310. You can Google these. 38 CFR stands for Code of Federal Regulations. You just copy these and paste them right on into the Google box, and it will tell you the law. I encourage you to read it. We did not find a link between your medical condition and military service. So that's indicating there's a problem with the Nexus. The Nexus is the link. The VA examiner stated that your sleep apnea is less likely as not related to your PTSD. That is one of the standards of proof that the VA needs. At least as likely as not, less likely than not. This less likely than not one is under a 50-50 chance, which does not go in your favor. So when you're getting your doctor to write a Nexus and a rationale for you, make sure that they put in at least as likely as not, which is a 50-50 chance. Tie goes to the veteran. And just to go on a little bit farther, he does have a good shot here, and I'll cover this in my closing remarks. Even though this didn't go his way, he did have a private doctor. They just blew off everything. So this is what you want to do. This doctor says less likely than not. His doctor says at least as likely as not. If you get this in a higher level review situation, you have a fair DRO, decision review officer. They should be able to easily see that, but you're going to want to point it out. You didn't consider my medical evidence. You didn't even look at it. Like, camp out on that. That is the entire argument. The way I view this one right here. The rationale for this opinion is that two conditions are not medically related. Now, of course, you and I know this is completely false. But, we don't want to put it past a VA C&P examiner, the enemy, to just start making shit up. The claim disorder is a separate entity entirely from the service-connected PTSD condition and unrelated to it. That's just funny. Like your PTSD and your sleep apnea, the sleep apnea is in a different body. In the brain and it's just not connected. I don't see it, even though it's in the same body. Like, I'm not a doctor. I know that everything is affected by everything pretty much in the body. The medical literature does not support a medical relationship. So now this C&P examiner went and pulled some medical literature. It's a good idea to have medical literature. Better if your doctor goes and finds it himself and then writes an opinion himself about the medical literature, because he's able to write those kinds of opinions, In my opinion, the obstructive sleep apnea was caused or made worse or aggravated because of his PTSD. And then here is a case study that I found from one of my peers. And my opinion is that this is also accurate. So basically the C&P examiner went and found negative medical literature. So again, there's always two sides to this coin. With the VA, it's usually about a 5-sided coin. 4 of them are against you. So know that going in. So medical literature shows that there is an increased risk of those with PTSD to have sleep apnea, but not that PTSD can cause sleep apnea. That's an important sentence right there, I think. People often confuse increased risk with caused. Just because you have increased risk doesn't mean that it was caused. So that alone is not your argument in your higher level review, in my view. But go ask a doctor, because I'm not one of them. There is no mental condition which causes obstructive sleep apnea. That's just flat out false, right? But, no accountability until you go and check this and win it in a higher level review. But still, there's no accountability against the C&P examiner, because they're going to keep saying this till they learn something different, or, maybe their whole job's to deny. Unknown. Obstructive sleep apnea is a disease with a clear and specific etiology. It is a common disorder characterized by narrowing or collapse of the airway during sleep. It is caused by anatomical variations. So all this part is a quote from this person. A nexus has not been established. So basically they're like, nope, they're not related. This C&P examiner may have had, maybe as a nurse practitioner or something, and had no clue what sleep apnea was. So they just relied entirely on medical literature and basically just quoted the whole thing in the decision letter. Look at this part right here. This is a real peach. Favorable findings identified in this decision. The claimed primary disability is service-connected. Wow. So that's what your favorable finding was? Like, no shit. I am service-connected for PTSD. Thanks for pointing it out. The sky is blue. Horses fly. Pigs fly. Oh, wait. The birds fly. You know what I mean? You are service-connected for PTSD. So these favorable findings take these with a grain of salt, because this is a good, smart-ass way that they do this kind of stuff. Pointing out obvious facts. This C&P examiner is a